You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and happy Friday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are so happy to have you join us. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents Life's Amazing Journey. I'm your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer. And with me today is the incredible John Christian. Welcome, John.
Hi, Doctor. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. I love the new background and that beautiful color behind you.
Another apartment in Portugal.
It just sets off your beautiful tan.
Thank you.
So you have brought us an incredible guest today, which doing my research, and of course I already knew of her, but just knowing that she's backstage, we're bringing her out very shortly. I'm so excited. But before we bring her out, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you are up to? And I know you have got a song for us too.
Yeah. So, well, actually, I'm working online here because I'm away from home. So we've got some echo. I don't know if you can hear that. But, so most of my work has been doing my online training program. So if anybody's interested in knowing more about that, you can go to my website, which is www.lifebalanceportal.com. Send me an email, john@lifebalanceportal.com. And the training program is a 10-module, 1-hour program. And it's all about the best things I've learned over the years from my mentors and personal experience on how to bring the best out of ourselves and be self-confident and effective.
And John, I bet a lot of the skills that you have learned and the experience that you have, it's really come in handy, especially during this pandemic, because I don't know if our friends are aware if from seeing other shows, but you've literally been living on the road for all this time. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, over a year now. When COVID started to come in, because I'm very much into the spiritual side of our nature as well. And I've had lots of experiences on self-healing and studying Eastern approaches to self-healing and keeping the immune system healthy and strong. So I decided I'm going to take virtually a year out and be in safe places where I can deepen my own practices and understanding of the mind-body-spirit integration. So that's what I've been doing. And I've been finding beautiful places in Australia and America. I've been down in Florida, absolutely loved it, and Mallorca with a fellow coach and friend on his ranch there. So we've just been having a great time exploring how to stay safe, how to stay fit, how to stay healthy, and how to stay feeling good in your own skin with all of this going on.
I think it would be amazing if you could do a documentary on your experience, because you have a different experience than many other people. There are people who are living in fear in a lockdown, and you're out there exploring the world, which I think is great, and it definitely suits you because you look brilliant, you look very healthy and very happy.
Thank you. I am truly, honestly. But I've been very blessed to have mentors in my life that understand how things work, and they understand the personal responsibility for taking care of your own thinking processes, your belief systems, your emotional choices, and your physical conduct and well-being. So I'm just applying all of that myself that I've learned and finding out that it all works. It really works, but like anything, it only works if you do it.
That's it, taking that first step that people are they're just procrastinating. But thank you for being a role model and a beacon of light and an inspiration. And my co-host, I'm so grateful that you're doing this show. So would you love to perform for us right now?
Sure. Oh, let me just say that this song just came to me as a request a couple of days ago from a friend in Florida, Claire Solomon. So it's a new one to me, and I just found it a very pretty and beautiful song. Apparently, it's quite popular in America, and it was written by Jan Garrett, and it's called "I Dreamed of Rain."
Wonderful.
Once again, for the professionals out there and anybody that hears distortion that's coming over, is because I'm just singing through my laptop with a tiny speaker. We don't have the professional setup. So here we go anyway. I think I actually missed the introduction. I do apologize for that. Let me see. I did. It started a little further in the track. I thought I'd set it up. Let me just change that. My apologies, everybody. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, soft and easy, sweet and clear. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of summer and the winds changed, and the green was easy and the rivers ran clear. I dreamed of summer and the winds changed, and peace spread over the land. And the flowers bloomed in the desert, and the air was fresh and clean. I dreamed of rain and the rains came, and peace spread over the land. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose, and the air was fresh and clean. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose, and peace spread over the land. Freedom and the moon rose, and the way was easy and the path was clear. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose, and peace spread over the land. And the guardian stars were shining, and the night was bright and clear. I dreamed of freedom and the moon rose, and peace spread over the land. I dream of heaven and the earth sings, and the sounds are easy and the songs are clear. I dream of heaven and the earth sings, and peace spreads over the land. I dream of heaven and the earth sings, and the sounds are easy and the songs are clear. I dream of heaven and the earth sings, and peace spreads over the land. And the ancient pain is forgotten, and the Father's debts are clear. I dream of heaven and the earth sings, and peace spreads over the land. I dream of heaven and the earth sings, and peace spreads over the land. I dreamed of rain and the rains came.
Sorry, I had myself muted. Brilliant. Tears come to my eyes.
Oh, thank you.
Such
Hope the sound was okay. Anyway.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I saw our guests backstage also enjoying music. We're both swaying back and forth. So how does it feel to not be able to be on a stage and perform?
Well, I was just saying to a friend this morning, when I step on the stage, it's home. It's like there are a million lifetimes. So it's so familiar. Everything in me comes forward into that moment. So it's so hard to describe, and I wish I could give it to people as a feeling, because it's such a phenomenal sensation to feel so comfortable somewhere, and to be able to enjoy your God-given talents and abilities and share them with people and watch oceans of people just move with you, flow with you. It's just incredible. Beautiful, beautiful thing to do.
Well, I can't wait for you to get back on stage, but I'm thrilled that you're here on this stage. And we are going to take a break and then bring out our guest. I can hardly wait.
Absolutely. Me neither.
All right, stay with us. We're taking a quick break to hear from some of our sponsors. We'll be right back on Life's Amazing Journey.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at DianeFloydBoehm.com. Visit DianeFloydBoehm.com. That's DianeFloydBoehm.com.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, Life's Amazing Journey. If you're watching us on YouTube, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. John Christian, and please do us the honor of introducing your friend and guest.
Yes, indeed. And what a pleasure to have such a friend who is truly a superstar of television, radio, movies. Sarah's pretty much done it all, as you're about to hear. So she's a beautiful person with an amazing voice that we're actually going to have the blessing of hearing as well today on the show. So she's also an author, and she runs her own training programs or workshops on storytelling and acting, drama. So a very multi-talented guest that we have today. Please welcome Sara Poyzer. Sara Poyzer.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Such an honor. You're so beautiful and so talented.
It's nice to see you both.
It's nice to see you also.
Yeah. It reminds me of being at home. It's the first time I've ever.
Oh, John. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen you.
Yeah, indeed.
So may I ask how you two met each other?
Well, it's very interesting because we met in the gym.
Oh.
So the
We
local
met over a downward dog.
You were both practicing yoga?
Yeah.
It's an unusual way to introduce yourselves, but it's quite fun.
Yeah, we met in the gym. We just kind of struck up a friendship and chatted in the gym, as you do.
Yeah, our gym is full of little West End starlets, you know, and also Sarah's husband as well, who's also a Shakespearean actor, and her sister, which hopefully we'll talk a little bit about as well, who is not only a West End star, but also one of the coaches at the gym too now. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Sara, I wanted to ask you, I feel like a little kid, but I was watching you perform The Winner Takes It All, and I thought to myself, you have this incredible dress on, your hair is magnificent, and you walk out onto the stage, and from the angle, it's on you and the orchestra, and you start to sing, and then you're animated, and I thought, what an incredible sense of power. What a gift that must be. And I'm wondering, what does it feel like to have command of the stage and the audience like that?
I think the performance you're talking about was the Royal Albert Hall when I performed there just before the pandemic. Yeah, I always feel that performing live is a two-way street. It feels like whilst you have command, I think you are nothing without the audience. And what I felt that night in particular, with such a huge venue to perform in, was a real kind of two-way relationship. The audience wanted to hear that amazing song written by Benny and Bjorn from ABBA, and I really wanted to perform it. I must admit, I felt a million bucks in that beautiful dress, and it was a really special evening. There was a lot of performers that night. My mum and sister were in the audience, and that always magnifies any performance that you do. It was really special, Doctor. Yeah, I had a really fantastic night. I felt really grateful to be there.
Well, I was cheering in my room going, yes, yes.
Thanks. Yeah, it's a beautiful song to sing, The Winner Takes It All. John will know this, coming from a straight acting background. If you took away the melody and just said those words, it's a beautiful monologue. So then to actually add a melody to it just kind of enhances that message really from that song. It's a beautiful song.
Tell us, Sarah, how your dreams as a child, was it always to be an actress and a singer?
No, it wasn't. Claire's was, my sister. She always wanted to be a singer, but I felt it was a sort of secret that I really wanted to do it, but didn't have the courage to say so. And I went to drama school slightly later at 24 years old. Before that, I worked in advertising and marketing. And I do think there's a tenuous link between advertising and performing, because it's about human condition. Advertising is about why would somebody buy a product, and I think performance is why would somebody do or say something. So I've always been interested. I did psychology, I studied psychology as a student, so I've always had an interest in sort of human behaviour. But then I got a job working at a theatre doing their publicity, watched a lot of plays, and suddenly thought, damn, I'm on the wrong side of the stage. I need to be on, not off watching. So it came to me slightly late. And it was a bit like you sort of mentioned, John. It was a light bulb moment, really. Suddenly I felt like I was where I belonged, without sounding too cliched. I felt that that's where I belonged, was on stage. And it was nourishing and really, I'd almost say healing for me in many ways. This is where I really found myself and where I felt I could really be myself too.
Yeah.
You know?
And when I came to see you, it was just like, oh, you know, every note you sang, my heart was there, and I wanted to be on the stage.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the thing. I go to the theatre. I love going to the theatre, and I went last week for the first time in 18 months, and I sobbed all the way through it, because to see these women being empowered and empowering on stage, and also the yearning in myself to be up there, it was a really magical experience. I mean, like I said, I'm quite a crier at the theatre anyway, and I sobbed. It was beautiful.
Because you played Donna in Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
One of the most popular musicals ever. You know, everybody loves it. I know Doctor is a great fan of it, and I've got friends looking in today because of being fans of the musical, wanting to hear and to see you. You know, so tell us a little bit about that from the performer's perspective. What's it like for you to take on the character, and how much does she match you in your normal life?
I first saw Mamma Mia about 15 years ago, and when that character burst out onto the stage, it was like something, it was like hitting a cymbal, that my resonance kind of went, I thought, oh my God, I have to play this woman. Who is she? She's amazing. And one of your parts of your question, John, what's she like compared to me? I've always said if she was a real person, Donna, I'd like to be her friend. I think that the way that she's been written, she is strong and vulnerable and fallible and makes mistakes, and she's courageous. So she's all the things that all parts of people are. She's not just a heroine. Well, she is a heroine, but she's a heroine because of her failings as much as her strengths. So I saw this character and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to play this woman. And badgered my agent for an audition. I got an audition and I didn't get the job. I hadn't prepared well enough. I was nervous. I didn't do my research. And the job passed me by. And then a year later, I went back again and I landed the role. And then for 10 years on and off, I've been playing this woman. So she's somebody I feel that isn't that far removed from me. I feel shame and guilt and joy and strength and power and vulnerability like we all do. So I feel this is a really rounded character, and it's been a privilege to play her. And I think, like I say, if she was real, I definitely want to be Donna Sheridan's mate. And I think lots of women and men look to her and see the play. I think Mamma Mia, the musical, is about forgiveness and love, the mistakes that we make and the past that we have, and that you have to work through that. And love is the answer. It sounds trite, but it's true. And I think now more than ever, that really matters, you know, which is why I think this show continues to be a success. And of course, the wonderful music of ABBA.
Did you find that you had to find emotions that you wouldn't normally explore to play her?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a child. I don't have a daughter. I have stepchildren, and the whole relationship between a mother and daughter was something I can see from the daughter's perspective with my own mum, but I don't have my own child. So there was things that I had to explore then, and that was painful and beautiful. So there's certain things, there's certain behaviours of hers. But I think, you know, John, I think that as an actor, somebody said it at drama school to me, and I always remember, by the time you reach 25, 30, you probably experience most emotions in your life to a lesser or greater degree. So it's tapping into those and finding those feelings of grief, regret, power, lost, love, all the things that she experiences in that show. But the challenge for me, John, was the singing, the emotional, big singing that show requires night after night. And you know about that. The kind of sportsman, athletic, almost like quality you need to perform constantly. It's tiring, and you have to take care of that. That was the biggest challenge for me, John.
If I may ask a question, because I think the three of us want to help lift other people up and encourage other people. You mentioned that you did the audition, but you didn't get the role, you didn't get the part, and you came back a year later. So two things. What was it that you did in that year to prepare, number one? And number two, why didn't you just say, oh, maybe this part's not for me, I'm going to try something else?
Yeah, well, the last part of your question, you know what it's like sometimes in life? You're just like, nah, this is an itch I have to scratch. I don't know what it is, but I almost felt like I'd already played the part. I already felt like that part of my life and my history was already written, or my future was already written. And I can't describe it any other way, really, Doctor, other than saying I was just like, I know that I am Donna. I know that I'm going to play this part, and I don't know how. So when I didn't get it, rather than saying, well, it's not for me, I thought, well, why? Why didn't I get it? I chose the wrong song for the audition. I didn't do enough work on the script. I thought the first round, I'd just be kind of familiar with it, and it wasn't good enough. So I went away. I licked my wounds. My pride was injured slightly, and my ego was busted slightly. And I thought, well, I have two choices. Like you say, you either go, well, stop it, I'm not going to bother, or I'm going to revisit this. And I worked hard that year. I went to see the show 2 or 3 more times. I nicked some good ideas from the woman playing the role at the time. I took singing lessons, and I worked really hard. And when I went the second time, I was so prepared. I didn't want anything to knock me off that path of kind of trying to achieve that goal. And you're right, it's a lesson for life generally, and it's a lesson that I've taken forward, to do your homework, to do your research, to be prepared. And it's thankfully it's kind of worked out quite well so far.
Absolutely. So for all of you out there who are afraid to take the first step, or you get rejected, please take Sarah's life lesson to heart.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it's really important. Knockbacks are what makes us stronger. The things that we achieve aren't the things that make you strong. It's the knockbacks that you climb back from that really give you strength, I think, and fortitude.
Yes, most definitely. So that's the beauty. I'm sure you do this in your workshops as well, like I do. Playing the role of a coach too is to help people with going through all those stages in their personal development and self-esteem and presentation skills and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that it's a funny job we do, John, really. Being an actor, you get a lot of no's before you get a yes. And I think that can be really detrimental if you don't have tools in place to help with that. And I think, as part of my acting training, I think one of the things I didn't get at drama school, because it was so many years ago, was, like you say, John, how to be an actor, how to live with being an actor, not just to be a good singer or an actor, but like you say, how to use life skills to kind of take a positive stance on all those kinds of things. And I think that it's not just about your technique, it's about life skill. And one of the things I've been touching on with some of my students is somebody who I'm sure you know is Eckhart Tolle, and about being very present and very in the now, and rather than sort of trying to look forward, be there, be present, because that, particularly on stage, can be an incredibly powerful thing to do. And if you're in an audition, if you've done your work, be present, be right there, use your breath, be there. And I think really positive things can come from that.
Great advice. So,
I have a question for. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we're both so eager to ask you questions. I'm sure people want to know about your book. What is your book about?
So I am in the process of writing my Mamma Mia memoir. I just kind of thought, I think I might be right in saying I'm the person who's played Donna for the longest on and off. And I've traveled to, I think it was 33 different cities with the show. And I've been to some extraordinary places. And whilst I think a lot of memoirs are written by well-known people, I think ABBA are universally and globally known. And I've got a real insight into the world of an ABBA musical. So I thought, I need to write this down. And I kept a diary for the whole of my journey with Mamma Mia. And I look back on it, I think, there's some really life-affirming, challenging, interesting stories to tell. All wrapped up within the kind of world of Mamma Mia, this kind of extraordinary musical. So I thought, I'm going to write it down. And it's also been incredibly cathartic for me as well to write stuff down and remember it and to see where I am. And one of the things that I think, particularly as the kind of culture we're living in at the moment, to write about a strong woman in a show written by a woman who's in the world of show business and a woman's place within the world and within show business and how that is evolving and changing in the most positive ways. Whilst I'm singing in Korea or Singapore or Johannesburg or Amman, I thought it was quite an interesting story. So I've been writing more during lockdown. It's been great.
Do you have a title for it yet?
I think I'm going to call it Here I Go Again, which is one of the lyrics from the show, Mamma Mia and Me. I think I'm going to call it that. But people have said things, why don't you call it Around the Globe in Silver Platforms, which is much more fun. So I don't know. There's a few ideas knocking around, John. I'm not sure yet.
We're all
Around the World in Lycra. I don't know.
I can't wait for that.
anyone's got any ideas, throw them forward. I'd be completely thrilled to hear any ideas.
Yeah. Well, you'll have to tell people how to get in touch with you. Well, we've got your Twitter, so they can do that.
Yeah,
Twitter,
Instagram for sure.
Yeah,
people.
and I'm sure people would be delighted to think, oh my God, my idea became her book title.
I love that. So, Sarah, you had talked a little bit about the fact that you have to have this incredible energy level. And John, I want you to comment on this too. You both look absolutely ageless. Okay, you both look beautiful, healthy, ageless. How is it that you keep yourself show ready, stage ready, even when you're not on the stage? And then when you are touring, you have to come up with all that energy level. What is it that you do?
Yeah.
John?
Ladies, I was going to say ladies first, but I literally have learned many things over the years of the importance of taking care of yourself, and there's no greater time than learning that right now. So I really believe that the body was designed for self-healing. There's what I call body wisdom, and if we know how to listen to it, we'll also call it our intuition, which to me is a higher level of intelligence within us. If we know how to listen to that, then we know how to keep our mind in order. So many of us think so stressfully, we weaken our whole system anyway, then we're much more susceptible when something like this comes along, as is being proven. So as long as we're taking care of ourselves in a list of things, like the regular gym with Sara there, and the proper breathing exercise is number one on the list, which I teach my clients. So proper breathing, proper exercise, proper diet. I don't drink or smoke, all of those kind of things, and avoid stress at all costs.
That's good advice, John. Yeah. I mean, very similar. I mean, I have quite a strict regime when I'm performing. Of course, I don't smoke. I think that there was a time when it was very fashionable for actors to smoke at stage door. And when I first started working, the interval was all about getting a quick, not for me, but getting a quick cigarette in the interval. Now it seems a crazy idea. So I'm the same as you, John. I don't drink, and if I do, it's very occasionally. But rest is paramount when you're performing as much as I do. Yeah. I often say, if Donna on stage is going through a traumatic experience, my body doesn't know that's not real. So there is sort of trauma and emotion at night when I'm crying and wailing. And I think I have to make sure that I sort of detox from that and sort of let that go in terms of the energy that's in my body. And that comes from meditation, yoga, great mindset, positive mindset, breathing, yes, John, quite a strict diet, not talking too loud. There's lots of things that I've learned over the years. You have to take care of your mind and body. It's paramount.
And we're not saying it's easy, are we, Sara? Because, because we are our own greatest challenge.
Yeah, and I think it's hard when I feel the peer pressure as well. I'm often the one who's saying, no, I don't want to go there. No, I can't do that. No, I'm sorry, I'm going away. I want to be friendly, and I want to be part of the community is really important. So you're right, it's challenging and restrictive. And certainly, like you say, mental health and strength is challenging. But daily practice, a small daily practice, whatever yours is, whether it's smelling a rose, going for a walk, doing something positive, small daily practice makes huge cumulative difference.
And you two, obviously, when you perform, wherever you're performing, other people are performing too, whether it's one person playing one instrument, or you're up on a stage, there's a huge orchestra, there's other actors, you're bringing your A game. What happens if somebody else that you're on stage with, your performer, is not bringing their A game? How do you handle it?
God, that's a good question.
You ad-lib. You ad-lib very quickly.
Yeah, and I think if somebody also is a bit lazy on stage, which can happen, you either take the official route and speak to somebody about it, you speak to them directly, which is challenging and difficult because their ego is going to get bruised, or you accept it and breathe and move on and just do yourself. But it's tricky, Doctor. It's really hard. Yeah. And it's frustrating. I also think people are paying a lot of money to see you on stage. So for me, it's A game or nothing. People spend a lot of money saving up to see performances. It's not easy. It's expensive these days. Yeah. So you have a duty to be the best you can be, I think.
Yeah.
I don't want to shortchange people.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we don't fortunately come across that too often. But yeah, there's always going to be that odd night or something when everybody's just like not having a good day.
Yeah, Sarah, I think you bring up a really good point. I know I don't live in New York. I'm in New Jersey, which is the next state. But when you go to New York, it's like a big deal. You know, you get out your best clothes. Maybe you're taking the train up and you're staying in a hotel and it's going to cost a couple $1,000s maybe for the whole thing. And the show is the center of everything. And then, of course, it creates a memory that you take with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Whenever I go to the theatre, I always think, oh, please be on your A game when I watch you today. I'm so excited. And I think if I feel like that in the audience, then you're right. Everybody I meet at stage door, they've always got a story. My mum was really ill. She's recovered from cancer. This is her first night out tonight. It's my mum's 50th birthday. We got engaged last week. We've come from America to see the show. There's so many stories. And you think if you're phoning it in or not feeling up to it, it matters. It does matter.
So if I may ask one other question, we could stay here all day. And this is for both of you. So we're human beings, right? Every day is not a perfect day. And we have skills, we have breathing, we have meditation, but sometimes I know even with myself, you just don't feel the best and you have to show up big because other people are depending on you. And eventually you have to find a way to release all of that because it can ultimately affect your health. So what is it you do? I know we talked about some of the things, but it also has to be the mindset, right? And giving yourself that grace that, okay, maybe I'm not feeling that well, but I'm going to go on anyway.
You first, Sarah.
I think first and foremost, forgive yourself because like you say, doctor, you're a human being and you can put all the things in place and then some days you're just not there. And I think that if my A game today is 8% of yesterday, but I'm still trying to give what I can today, forgive myself for any of the shortcomings. As long as I'm trying. And actually, to be fair, if you don't want to try, there are days that you don't try. It's difficult when you're performing. I think when you're performing, part of your wages is about trying, regardless of how you feel. I think you're paid to do your best. So if you're really not feeling great generally, forgive yourself. There's a lovely thing about meditation, about the clouds coming over. And I feel that sometimes we all do. And one of the things that said is the sun's always above the clouds. The sun is always there waiting to break through. Let the clouds come in, let them pass. Don't fight them because they will pass. I strongly believe that.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, well, for me too, you know, I've had many times in dressing rooms when I've driven for hours to do an hour's show or something. I'm totally exhausted. So again, I turn back to breathing exercises because it's just all about your energy levels, obviously. And there's so many ways that we can lift our energy level in any given moment. And perhaps the most powerful is to remind yourself, I love what I'm doing. That's why I'm here. You know, I'm here to enjoy it. I remember being on stage one night and thinking, oh, God, you know, I don't really want to be here tonight. And asking myself that question. So why am I here? Actually, because I love doing this. So what do I want to give to these people? I want to give them the fact that I love doing this. And then I forgot about me for a minute and got more involved in what I was giving. And my energy was immediately up.
Oh, that's good. That's a good tip.
That's a great tip. And of course, you guys are experts. You've been doing this for so many years. I have 18 shows that I'm doing now from Wednesday to Friday. What I found was by the last show, I don't have the level of energy that I need to show up the way I need to show up. So I decided for the summer, I'm not taking any more bookings for that show because it's not fair to the guests.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's good to learn to say no sometimes. A high quality no is powerful as, okay, yes, I'll do it. It's really important to take the time to find that. It's brilliant that you did that. To say, actually, do you know what? I think no on this one.
And these are the real life skills that we are interested in helping people to learn. And one of the hardest things, I think we'll all agree, is to let your yes be yes and your no be no.
Yeah.
You know, to learn to do that.
Yeah. I think there's a quintessential Britishness as well, John. We're not very good at saying no. And I'm learning to do it a little more. I mean, I prefer to say yes, but now and again, the no is what you need, right?
Yeah, absolutely, you do. Only because you're being honest with yourself then. And the cause and effect is if you're saying yes because you're trying to do the right thing or please somebody, immediately your energy is going to drop after because now already you're going, why did I say yes when I know I should have said no?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
And then we have that internal struggle with ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you know how to manage that, which is what we've been learning on our incredible life journeys, and that's what makes our lives an incredible journey. It's an amazing journey when you've got the skills in place, and that's what we should all be, as we are, doing our very best to impart to as many people as we possibly can.
Yeah, I think there's something about guilt. I think there's a big thing of guilt being a human being. People feel guilty about the way they bring their kids up, not contacting their friends, eating the wrong cake, drinking too much the night before. And I think to try and get rid of guilt would be it, because I think from guilt comes stress as well, John. I think, oh, I didn't quite do that right, and I didn't text back, and I didn't do that very well, and today I put on 2 pounds or whatever it may be. And I think we feel guilty, and I think, and I speak from personal experience, and I think to try and dilute that guilt, and rather than be guilty about it, say, I've done this, I'd like to change it. There's a wonderful thing that Eckhart says, accept where you are, then make the changes from that point. But right now, accept where you are. Don't worry about it. If you want to make a change, make one positively, but don't give yourself a hard time about it.
Yeah. And that's a huge lesson in most people's lives, because unfortunately we've been taught to think we have to beat ourselves into learning. Instead of enjoy learning. Like, enjoy making mistakes. That's the biggest thing I've learned, because I used to beat the hell out of myself. And to actually learn, do you know what? It's okay for me to make a mistake and then trust myself. I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to move on as fast as I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I'm not carrying it around with me all the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sarah, you mentioned that you're going to be back on the stage, you say in a month?
Yes, I start rehearsals in a month's time. Can't wait.
So exciting. So the next month that you have, are you going to do anything differently than you normally would do, knowing that this time that you have is going to come to an end?
Yeah, I'm going to try and, I mean, now we can sort of see friends, which is wonderful. But to be honest with you, I've got to get show fit. I've got to get fit and remember that I've got to wear tight lycra and jump around the stage while singing very high notes. So the next month's going to be about me. I am relatively fit anyway, but it's a very specific fitness, singing whilst dancing and moving around. So I'm going to be doing that for the next month. I'm so excited. I can't tell you.
I think you brought up something that we haven't touched on before, John. I'd like to have you comment too, is you show up on the stage, but there's a lot of rehearsal that takes place prior to that requires you to be there fully present. So tell us about the rehearsals.
John, do you want to go first this time?
Ladies first.
Oh, bless you. Well, yeah, rehearsals is 4 weeks, and we begin by all kind of coming together. It's my favourite day, the beginning. We all meet and greet each other, and I mean, it'll be different this year. I don't know. I think we're going to bubble so we can hug, which sounds like such a small thing, but I've missed it. And actors are generally quite kind of affectionate. So we gather together, and then we slowly work through the script and the songs. There's a musical director, there's a choreographer, there's a director, there's also assistants for all that team. So there's a lot of people in the room. And then we rehearse for 3 or 4 weeks, and then we do something called a six probe, which is the first time we hear the full band, because in rehearsals we only have a piano. So we all get together with the band for the first time, and you hear the overture strikes up when the drums. It's the most thrilling experience. And then we go into the theatre, and it's the first time we really get to try on our costumes. And we work in the theatre for a week, make sure the lights are right, the cues are right, the quick changes. I have a 12-second quick change that requires 3 people to help me, so I'll do that. And it all gears up to that opening night. And our first performance this year at Harewood House is going to be for key workers, which is going to be a really exciting and emotional performance. So, yeah, it's going to be great. Rehearsals are tiring because you have to repeat it. You don't just do one performance, you sing and sing and sing and dance and dance and dance. But it's the best kind of tiredness. It's my favourite kind of fatigue, being fatigued from doing the show.
It sounds so exciting. It's like you get it in an incredible workout too, right? So, John, how about for you?
Yeah, for me it's slightly different because I haven't done as much theatre as Sarah, but because I've done a one-man performance mostly, and concerts and stuff like that, television and that. So it's mostly rehearsing with myself or the orchestra. So my biggest challenge always is retaining the lyrics and going over them and over them until they get in there. Yeah.
John, can I
That's
ask you, how is it performing? Because one of the things I really love is getting the relationship with another actor on stage. Obviously, you do a lot of solo stuff. Where do you kind of get the inspiration from? Is it the band or is it the audience? Or?
No, I have to get it from me, truly, you know, and then it's boosted when I get together with the musicians, providing we're all tuning in with each other. And then, of course, the piece de resistance is when it all comes together in front of your audience, and you know, providing, you know, it's like so many dynamics. Sometimes I've had two shows in one night where I've had a standing ovation in one, driven half an hour up the road and done another show, nothing. And you go, what happened? It was like I did the same thing, but it was a different atmosphere and there was a different mood in the room, and you think, oh my God, somebody really did die in the audience or something, you know. So you know, we often say in the business, you know, when you're dying on your butt, you just wish there was a big hole that would open up and you could fall through it. But fortunately, it's rare.
Do you take that personally or to heart, or do you just let it go?
I used to take it to heart, but that's part of the amazing life journey, you know. And what I've learned from that, it was been the most richest education I could possibly imagine, because it's direct learning. You're meeting yourself head on, all your doubts, all your fears, all your worries, and they come right up front. And then you're standing in front of hundreds of people, and you're either showing all of that or you're bringing your potential through because of all the rehearsing and the work that you've done. Yeah, that's the skill, that's the art, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm so excited that Sarah's going to perform for us. Would you like us to take a break and then have you perform, or are you ready to go now?
I can go now. I'm happy to sing. Yeah.
All right. Woo!
Yay!
I'm singing a song from a beautiful show called Next to Normal, which is about a woman who is struggling with her worsening bipolar disorder and the complications that causes for her and her family. And she sees her daughter having a little romantic moment with her daughter's boyfriend, and she realizes how much she longs and mourns her old life, her life of kind of ups and downs that's been muted by the medication she's taking for her bipolar disorder. So the show's about depression and suicide and anxiety. Now, it sounds kind of sad, but it's actually something that I think is really important to shine a light upon, particularly in the current crisis. So this song, she starts to throw away her medication because I think she really just wants to feel again. This song's called I Miss the Mountains. I'm just going to pull it up for us. Okay. Okay. I'll give it a go. There was a time when I flew higher, was a time the wild go running free, would be me. Now I see her feel the fire. Now I know she needs me there to share. I'm nowhere. All these blank and tranquil years, seems they've dried up all my tears. And while she runs free and fast, seems my wild days are past. But I miss the mountains, I miss the dizzy heights, all the manic magic days and the dark depressing nights. I miss the mountains, I miss the highs and lows, all the climbing, all the falling, All the while the wild wind blows, stinging you with snow, and soaking you with rain. I miss the mountains, I miss the pain. Mountains make you crazy. Here it's safe and sound. My mind is somewhere hazy. My feet are on the ground. Everything is balanced here and on an even keel. Everything is perfect. Nothing's real. Nothing's real. And I miss the mountains. I miss the lonely climb, wandering through the wilderness and spending all my time where the air is clear and cuts you like a knife. I miss the mountains. I miss the mountains. I miss my life. I miss my
Standing ovation.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I found myself thinking, I wish this song would go on for 10 or 20 minutes. I don't want you to stop singing.
Yeah. You know what I love about. Okay.
Sorry, yeah, go on. Sorry,
You
John.
got it? Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. Yeah. What I love about the way you perform is you take those words into yourself, you make them your own, you put them in your heart, and you give us the embodiment and the feeling, you know. So even through the screen here,
Thanks, John.
the aliveness, the living feeling of what you make of that is so beautiful.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. I hope it didn't distort too much. I just think
No,
it's a
it was
beautiful
good, actually.
song. Oh, good. Thank
It was
you.
perfect.
Under
It
the
was so
circumstances.
authentic, and I actually felt like you were that woman that you were describing and imagining what she was going through, and it just really touched me.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Doctor.
More.
Yes, I was just saying, can you stay around for another hour?
We want a whole show now. Oh, dear.
Thank
Beautiful.
I'm so excited for you that you're getting back up there in a month, and what would you say, both of you, because I think this is really important. We have people come on and they don't have the level of success that you have. They're somewhere, they're starting their journey, but all of a sudden they've been out of work. They've been completely out of work and talking about mental illness, depression, anxiety, and they're going through all of it, and they don't have a job that's coming up. They don't have a performance. What can you share with them to keep them going?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, you're right. It's been such a difficult year. And I think it's been an interesting time, certainly here in the UK, as theatres open up and people celebrate work. There are thousands who don't celebrate work in our industry, who don't have jobs to go to. And I think that, I tell you who said, I think it might have been Bryan Cranston, who's a great, glorious actor, but success isn't getting a job. That's just an extra. I think success in life is, it sounds again so cliche, but I think success in life is being the best person you can be. I mean, physically, mentally, spiritually, psychologically. Doesn't matter if you fail sometimes, but I think to strive is really important. And I think it doesn't matter if you don't get the job. Now, it's so easy for me to say that. I've been in places where I know that I've really struggled because I haven't got a job and I've not got any cash and I'm down on my luck. And it's so true that you have to come back to your breath. You have to come back to being present. Don't look back. Don't look forward. Be present. Keep working hard, but be present. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
It resonates so strongly with me. It resonated with the pandemic as well. I felt very sad during the pandemic, maybe depressed at times, hugely anxious. What's the world going to look like? What's my career going to look like? This too shall pass is something that I say to myself. My friend has it tattooed on her arm. That's how much she believes that. And I think it really is about breath, being present. Meditation is so powerful for your mental health. And it's small things that they seem like everyone said it 1,000 times. I've heard that before. If anyone's listening, yeah, I've heard that. It's so happened. It's so works. And meditation can be being in the garden, smelling a flower, just being present with your breath at that moment. And it really does work. It doesn't feel like it, but it really works.
Yeah.
What do you think, John?
We already have everything we need. I mean, this body is the toolkit, you know. We just haven't been, in our culture, Western culture, unlike the Eastern cultures, we haven't been raised and trained how to function properly in our own bodies. So we don't even understand how consciousness works, the power of every thought and the power of chosen belief systems and behavior. So you've got to trust your intuition. This is something I lecture on a lot nowadays and is in my training course. So I've been lecturing at universities on developing intuitive intelligence, because to me that's a higher faculty, sense, perception, intelligence than our rational, logical, deductive thinking process. You know, so when we know that's there and we can turn the mind to it, as I did in the early days, answering your question here, when for a year the phone didn't ring, you know, and you're sitting there and you're rehearsing and you're working, the phone's not ringing, you think, oh dear, what am I doing? But I stayed with that feeling, and intuition speaks through feelings, not so much through thoughts. So follow that feeling, trust your heart, follow the feeling. There is a greater intelligence at work within us that takes care of us in every breath. And as long as we're breathing properly and being responsible for the way we think and behave, then we are creators. So we can actually manifest whatever we most predominantly focus on. And that's what we're doing with our lives, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think it's really important to accept where you find yourself. That doesn't mean you shouldn't make change if you want to. But
Yeah.
I think fight against what is just causes stress. And I think even if where you are isn't where you want to be, you have to accept wherever you are right at that moment. So I'm out of work, I've got no cash. Accept it. Don't push against it. Accept it, then strive to make the changes. I think you're right, John. I think we are so much more powerful and beautiful than perhaps the West allows us to believe. And I think the idea of success is distorted in the West as well. I think success often can be beauty, fame, particularly wealth. And I'm not sure they should really be the real markers of success.
I think, would you agree with me? I mean, what I've learned, Sarah, definitely, is being around some of the most famous, richest people in the world. That doesn't necessarily give you happiness. Going through the likes of X Factor, Opportunity Knocks it was for me, you know, doing all that and getting all the appraisal and everything else. And you, in those moments, you're thinking, this is it, I've made it, only to find out, well, what next? So what I've learned from that is what next is always right relationship with yourself.
Yeah, the Buddha talks about it. He said there's a great difference between pleasure and joy and happiness. And pleasure can be fast cars, X Factor, wealth, and that can be pleasurable. And pleasure is something we like a lot. But joy and happiness are something much deeper, much more spiritual. And I quite like pleasure. This morning I had a really dirty pastry for my breakfast because it was my friend's birthday. And it gave me huge pleasure. It had pecans on it and maple syrup, and it was great. But it wasn't true happiness. It was just a pleasurable moment. And sometimes people take that pleasure to extreme, drugs, alcohol, addiction, and they think it's bringing them joy, but ultimately it's bringing them fleeting pleasure. And it's about finding out what joy and happiness is. And like you say, John, it's within us, and we just need to unlock it because it's absolutely there.
Yeah. We just need to be educated in how to bring out what we've already been born with, basically.
Yeah.
Fantastic coaching from both of you. I love it. Sarah, do you have time for one more question?
Sure, yeah.
So you mentioned Bryan Cranston, whom I love, by the way. He was in that series Breaking Bad, which I saw every season, I think 3 or 4 times. But I thought to myself, what he must have gone through when he finished doing that role. And it reminded me of you. So you've been doing Donna for so long. You've not been her for now a year, 18 months, and now you're going to go and be her again. Is there some type of relationship connection that you have with that, being that person and then having to let it go and then what is that like?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I left the West End playing the role, I thought that was the end. It was a hugely emotional time, and I gave a big speech and thanked everybody. and I do mourn when I say goodbye to characters that I play. I do mourn them. Just after I played Donna, I played a very different character in a Sondheim musical called Sarah Jane Moore in a musical called Assassins, who couldn't be further from Donna if she tried. But I mourn them both in different ways. And yes, it felt like saying goodbye to a friend with Donna, because I really thought it was forever. So yeah, there's a kind of period for me of letting go. And also at 7:30 at night, the time of I'd get itchy. I thought, this is the time when I'm meant to be singing. I work all night, I work all day to pay the bills I have to pay. I thought, why am I not doing that? What's going on? So my body and my mind had to adjust. And post-show blues a little bit, I suppose. I suddenly was like, okay, who am I without this woman? But she was just sleeping, it would seem. She wasn't gone forever. And now she's back. And you know what? I thought, I want to play her differently. And the musical director said, why? It was a success. Why not just play her the same? I said, because she's a Donna with a different person playing her. I'm not who I was 2 years ago, particularly after the 2 years we've had, or the 18 months we've had. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she's going to be this time. Of course, she's going to be similar because the lines are the same. But and also, I haven't said my husband's playing opposite me in the show.
Oh.
Yeah, he's playing Sam Carmichael. So he's in a different place as well. We're in a different place as a couple. So it's going to be a new Donna. And I'm excited to see who she is, really. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Congratulations. Thank
you. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Your whole face you said that.
I'm going to ask you what Stan was doing, so that's fantastic. Very pleased to hear that.
Yeah, he got offered it as well. I mean, it's just like, it's kind of a dream, really.
Fantastic.
It's a challenge working with your partner full time and living with them full time, but it's a challenge that we accept with gusto.
Yeah. And is Claire going to be going back into the West End? Your sister?
I don't know. This is my sister, Dr. Jacalyn. She actually, in Mamma Mia, because it's a big role, one night a week I get a night off, and somebody called the alternate performs, and my sister was alternate Donna, not at the same time as me, unfortunately, but at one point she was doing it in the West End and I was doing it across the other side of the world, and we almost performed at the same time, which was just wonderful synchronicity. I think she will, John, when she's finished raising Kira, her daughter, when she goes to school. My sister's exceptionally talented. She's a wonderful dancer, particularly. So I'd love to see a day when we're in a show together. She's my best friend, and I would really love that. Would be great.
Yes.
So me and you, John, maybe me and you could be in a show together. Who knows?
Oh, what? Say that again. I want to manifest that.
Yeah,
say it again.
We could be in a show together.
Oh my God, I would say
that. You never know. You never
know.
Oh,
fantastic.
Yes, wouldn't it just?
Yeah.
That makes my heart sing.
Yeah, I think the West. Do you know what I've realised is as well, John and Dr. Jacalyn, is that people are hungry for the theatres to open.
Yes.
We are a society that loves art and culture. I mean, I think America's the same. We really love it. And I think as soon as those doors open, the crowds are going to come. They want to experience theatre.
Yes.
So I'm really excited for that. And I think the West End is going to be as magnificent as it ever was. I really do believe that.
I think that's something needs to be given so much more attention, because I work in the care homes occasionally doing shows for them, and to watch those people come alive and get a little bit of exercise, because they're tapping their feet, clapping their hands, and they start to sit up and they remember something, and they become totally transformed within a space of a few songs and a few jokes that they can laugh with. And I think it's so sad that in our culture we don't recognize the healing of that.
I think it's something some people have started to realise, that people without theatre, that I think it's hugely healing. It's because there's a transaction that happens between an audience and a performer. I think it's why I prefer doing theatre to TV. Actually, I love the media of TV. It's a wonderful thing, and I love watching drama. But as an actor, I prefer the interaction with an audience personally.
Yes,
and I think you're right. I think it's hugely healing. I've become a mentor. It's called a theatre body for 2 young children with terminal illness. and the relationship with them. And when they go to the theatre, you forget for a while, you forget your worries. And even if it's a sad performance, you're still so immersed in it. And I think it's really powerful. And you talked earlier, John, about stepping out onto a stage. And I mentioned it in my book. There's something really magical about standing in the darkness of a wing and stepping out into the light on stage. And I think there's real responsibility there. You step out into the light and you're prepared at that point to be vulnerable, to say, here's me, telling you a story. I hope you get something from it. And it's a really powerful, and there's something about it metaphorically that's from the darkness of the wing to the lightness on the stage. That's really powerful. And I think we shouldn't underestimate that. And I hope that, and I think that people will embrace that again when they can.
Oh, well said. Yes. Well, the ancient Greeks and Egyptians used music theatre just for those healing purposes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And music, hugely.
I've interviewed a couple of young people this week and last week with major adversities, and they found music as a way to propel them forward. And it's so important for all of us. And the gifts that both of you will bring to the world, just so meaningful. I said I didn't have any more questions, and I know our show's over, but I have just one more, if I might. My question is, when you leave this stage, when you're acting, whichever character you happen to be, and you're coming back the next day, you're going to be that person again. Does some of Donna, for example, stay with you, having a conversation with your husband, and you're answering as though Donna would in your mind, or is Donna back in the theater?
I tend to leave Donna at the stage door. I tend to always do a cool down. However, we do often rehearse script at home, and we've worked together a few times, and we ended up doing this enormous row, this period drama. We were rowing in the kitchen, and halfway through it, I burst out laughing, and I said, "This is crazy! What are we doing? We're pretending to be these other people." But they do manifest sometimes at home. And the other day, we sang together. We sang some ABBA together in our kitchen. We sang a bit of "So When You're Near Me, Darling, Can't You Hear Me, SOS." We sang that together. So they are certainly, these characters walk alongside us. But however, actually, Dr. Jacalyn, the beginning of The Winner Takes It All is the line, "I don't want to talk about things." And I have said that in argument before to son. I've said, "I don't want to talk." And he said, "About things we've gone through." I'm like, don't, I'm serious. I'm very cross. So yes, now and again. She does creep in, yeah.
I'd like to quickly just share something that I learned that was really important after playing a role that required deep anger and aggression, and I came off stage one night and I thought, I just left that on there. That was profound going into that. I don't normally go there. That was profound. And now I've left it on the stage. So what's the difference between when I'm feeling angry in my so-called normal life to when I'm being angry on stage? The only difference is psychologically. I think I'm acting there, so I leave the emotion behind. And in my real life, I just take it too personally. That's the only difference there is. It's all an act. Like Shakespeare said, it's just an act, all of it.
Yeah. I think you have to be careful to do. My husband played Macbeth a couple of years ago, and he was grieving for his mum at the time, and he didn't leave the character behind. And it really was quite damaging for him, because he took all the angst of Macbeth and all the kind of anger, and his grief was kind of swirling around with that. And he ended up getting some therapy for it. He won't mind me saying that, because he had to let the character go and actually immerse himself in the grief. I think grief isn't something that you let go of. You go through it. You have to go through it. Yeah. And I think that he said, I just ended up using my grief in the show and bringing the show into my grief, and it wasn't a healthy combination. So you're right, John. Leave it at the stage door, for sure.
Yeah, but that's a heck of a self-discipline and training to do that.
Absolutely.
And again, we've been fortunate to learn from the experience of having those insights.
Yeah, I think they definitely help, for sure.
Yeah.
Just a small personal insight that I have. I found that after working and I go downstairs to have dinner with my mother, or we go out, I'm actually interviewing her. I'm actually asking, well, hold up. And I have to actually catch myself and say, wait a minute, you're just Jackie right now. You're not Dr. Jacalyn. You're just with your mom. And
that's interesting.
It is.
She brings it to my attention, believe me. I'm not one of your guests.
That's an easy segue in a way, because because of your job, Dr. Jacalyn, you have a curious mind, you're interested in people, so you're going, okay, Mom.
Exactly. Oh my my goodness. I had so much fun. Thank you so much. I would love to stay on. We have another show right after this, but
Yeah.
you are such a beautiful person. Thank you for coming here and sharing your beautiful voice and what's inside you is just so pure and authentic, and you've just given our audience a true gift.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute. Thanks for inviting me, John.
Oh, hey, listen, I can't thank you enough for saying yes.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. It's been great fun. I've loved it.
Yeah, very truly beautiful. And I look forward to seeing you in the gym, back in the inverted V.
Namaste. Yes.
Namaste. Om Shanti.
And I'm planning on coming over to London in the spring. So I would love to get together with both of you if you have time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, come and see the show for sure.
Absolutely. I definitely will. Yes.
Oh, great. That would be really fantastic. All right. Good to meet you. Yeah.
Yes. Good to meet you too.
So, Sarah, we'd love you to come on again if you will one day.
Sure thing. Of course.
Yes. Love
and,
that.
and Stan as well.
Yeah, I was going to say your husband too.
I'll ask him for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And Claire as well. I did ask Claire at one point. So have your mum on as well. Let's have the whole family.
Thanks ever so much.
Thank you. We'll see you again.
Family.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bless you.
Oh, John, she is such an incredible person. So sweet and so kind. And even though she's achieved so much, she's a real person. Like you were talking about some of the people that you've met in the course of your life, and their priorities are just somewhere else.
Yeah, really. That's, and when I get to reunite with my friends here that we're having on as guests, it's just breathtaking to me to think, oh my God, look what we've made of our lives, of ourselves, because of our lives experience, and how each of us are now doing our best to impart that to other people, and especially the children, need support for just simple life skills.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to spotlight you and put up a couple of images for your training and for your book. So if you would just share with us about them.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Life Shift Stories is a book that I was asked if I would contribute to with 11 other storytellers and writers. And it's all about things that have happened in our lives that were an incredible shift for us, turned our lives around. So I tell my stories in there. And there's been many events like that. But in fact, the first turning point in my life from the dream of I'm only going to be happy if I'm rich and famous was in the meditation experience, when I discovered that there's much more to self and life than just fame and fortune, as nice as it is.
And how about your ebook?
Yeah, so this is my ebook. If people would like to get a copy, please email me, john@lifebalanceportal.com. And within this, sharing stories of how following my intuition has guided me through my entire life when I've been mostly doubting myself on an ego or personality level, but fortunately followed my intuition even those moments. And also it's served to save my life and lives of groups that I've worked with when we've found ourselves in truly life-changing experiences like earthquakes and bombings in Sri Lanka. So there's a lot in there about that.
Real adversity.
Yeah. And this is a Skills for Life Balance. So this is my online training program. As I mentioned, it's 10 modules, and each module takes a different aspect of yourself and your life into consideration. And we look at what's working and what you feel isn't working well for you. And particularly my focus in the training is how can we help one another to be more personally responsible for the way we think, what we choose to believe, how we choose to conduct ourselves and behave, and for our overall sense of well-being. So I've put the best of many of the things that I've experienced along the way in that.
And I think people are realizing when they watch the show, they're getting free coaching. They're getting, messages from you and Sarah that are really priceless.
I hope so. This is the other thing that I find so lovely about my friends. We've got this parallel life going on, there's the life of the performance and everything else, and there's our personal quest to understand ourselves spiritually and consciously.
And John, for people who want to get in touch with you, your website is www.lifebalanceportal.com. And
Correct.
your email is john@lifebalanceportal.com.
Yes.
Any other information you want to share with our audience?
I think that's about it at the moment. I'm available for personal online one-on-one coaching as well, if people are interested in that. I also do intuitive diagnosis readings for people. So you just have to let me know what your interest might be, and we'll talk it through.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, my friend, for being here. I'm getting notified that we're going live in 12 minutes from other shows.
Great. Well, that was so much fun.
That was so much fun. Thank you. I'll see you
Bless
again.
you.
Bye.
Enjoy the next show. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Everyone, thank you. If you missed the beginning of the show or any of it, please go over to our YouTube channel, Dr. Jacalyn LLC. We just witnessed complete greatness here today, that you would pay a lot of money to go on into a theater and watch Sara perform and hear John perform, and the coaching lessons that they just gave us are I'm just so grateful. So grateful. So thanks again for being here with us. We are going to be closing out the show right now. I'm going to do a quick change, and then we'll be back with A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And my guest today is expert presenter Daphne DeLucci. She's joining us from London. We'll see you again soon.